So do you find it difficult to maintain the passion in your marriage or maybe your business or your career? Well, today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how we maintain passion in what it is that we do. Welcome to the Five Squad. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Five Squad. My name is Evan Andrews.
I'm Haley Andrews.
And we are here today to talk about something that I believe is pretty important. Yep. And that is going to be talking about maintaining passion.
Keep the fire burning at work and at home.
Yep, at work and at home, and really any area of life. I think this is something that I know that I've struggled with even kind of recently in kind of understanding what I really want to do.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
life.
I think it's important to figure it all out.
Yeah. So, and not only I think for our personal selves, but passion in the relationship side of things.
Yep.
Right. So we're talking about relationships with coworkers, bosses, your marriage, friends also too can kind of fall into this category as well. What I kind of wanted to just kind of dive headfirst into is first, I think what helps us maintain passion is boundaries. Right. So I look at this as like personal boundaries, right? Like we have to set those kind of for ourselves to keep ourselves and the other people around us kind of in, I don't want to say in check.
But
that kind of sounds messed up, but
nobody can make the boundaries for you. That's the thing. You do. It is it's 100% personal because you have to establish them so that others will follow them. And that's the hardest thing about like understanding yourself, to find the passion to set the boundaries, because again, nobody can do it for you.
Yeah. Cause if you're like a workaholic, right? You like always,
you have no boundaries for
right.
your home life.
Always
your
are
work
doing,
life.
You're always doing and doing. And I think we all who kind of give from that standpoint, that frame, like we think we're doing it like for a positive reason. It's not like a negative thing. So like we don't really understand like where the burnout might come from. Right.
Because you don't actually realize inside of yourself that you're burning out because you're pleasing others. Right. You're not necessarily setting the boundaries to pleasing yourself. It sounds selfish, right? But it's actually like super vital and important.
And I think both of us kind of fall in that route of, is it like people pleasing? Do you think where it stems from?
Maybe a little bit.
Or like for you?
For me, definitely. Yeah. That just comes from, I really love to see other people happy.
Yeah.
But then I don't even realize in that journey, I'm slowly losing myself because I don't have those boundaries at work, at home, at church. I mean, anywhere. If you don't have those in place or you don't find a way to get them in place, then you're slowly letting yourself go, and then you're just losing that passion. You're losing that drive. You're losing that motivation because your focus is on everyone else instead of yourself. And it's not selfish. It's important.
So, I think for most people, that kind of is an easy thing to follow for work life, right? But at home,
I don't think so.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I think if you were to just talk about that topic with somebody, they could easily understand how that looks at work for somebody.
Oh, what it looks like
at
following
home,
through with it is different. What it looks like,
So from the standpoint of like at home and like setting boundaries, because like from the male perspective, like we want to give to our family and do what we can to provide and make sure everybody's good, but
you don't realize that's not always the
right.
Providing isn't always financial.
Sure.
We need providers in time, in presence, in love, and that's not just male or female. I think that's exactly where the boundary comes in at home, is finding the balance of that boundary. You know, when to take a break from work, when to be fully present in the home life. Same thing for me though. I mean, especially entrepreneurship, when we're working 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like
quit my job to get a 24-hour job. Yeah,
I think you said that in like the first episode or something. Let's talk about this. Let's go to the actual tip. How do you establish them? What about you? You talk about where your boundaries come in and how you've come to know them.
So at home, so I'll give you at work.
Okay.
Right. Work boundary for me is like something that I was recently going through was, in the coaching stuff that I do, right? I always had, my Slack is always going off, right? Ding, ding, ding. You hear it all the time, right?
Slack is like a messaging platform.
Yes, correct. I always feel like when I hear the ding go off or the bubble sound, that I have to see who it was from and kind of answer to it
and decide if it's urgent or not. But that's usually what you do. Like, you look at it just to remind yourself, like, okay, it's not urgent now. When in reality, you have to have a boundary stating, like, this is not the time that I'm looking at this.
So what I do now is I only check the Slack between 2 particular 1-hour blocks during the day.
Right.
And that has helped tremendous for me to have the ability to keep, going with work and not get sidetracked and get off
how
task.
That translates for me, because my work is opposite from you. Like, I'm going to talk about my real work and my side work and how the boundary is a little different. So for me, I'm the exact same way. I feel like the second I get an email, I need to reply.
Super anxiety.
And I'm learning the hard way that, like, replying right away actually doesn't help anybody. Not you, not them.
It's not like a text message.
But even then, if you don't give yourself time to process the information that you're receiving and the information you're providing, for me, what I run into is, dang, I didn't want to say that, or I should have said that differently. And so I'm trying to learn how to maintain that processing time, and that actually translates right along with my side business and my home life, because when I'm at work, right? Like, I'm doing all of my work related things. When I'm at home is the time that I allow myself to do my jewelry stuff. But because I'm at home, I have to find that what am I responding to in the certain hours? Like, I'm definitely not doing anything jewelry related between the hours of, I don't know, 5 to 8, because
PM?
Because I'm dinner, bath, routine, and all of that. Because if I do both at the same time, it just, nobody wins. Yeah. And that's just not fair.
Yeah, or the other thing doesn't get done right, or one of the things doesn't get done right.
But that's something I've struggled with for a very long time, is because I didn't have, or because I lacked boundaries in several aspects of my life. Although I was doing it all. Yeah. People say, how do you do it all? But I wasn't doing it all well, or to the most passionate level that I know I'm capable of. So that's where those boundaries are really important.
Yeah. So I think another key crucial point in, maintaining passion in relationship, marriage, more than anything, obviously.
Because we're talking about maintaining the passion in your career and your home life, because those two things typically intersect so well. Yeah. I mean, so much.
But the use of, like, regular date nights, scheduled or spontaneous, whatever, but having something that you can look forward to, or just kind of know that y'all do it. It doesn't have to necessarily always be planned, but it's like you can kind of anticipate, like, that, like, hey, it's Friday or Saturday, or
I think that's extremely important. And I think this is probably one of the things
because I think we go out on a lot of dates. I was going to
say, I think this is something we really excel in, and I don't think you necessarily remember how it all started.
Memory lane trip. Let's go.
Well, this is why this is really important. And I think oftentimes when you're in a relationship for a long period of time, you kind of forget where all of the big emotion began, like when you were trying to woo your spouse or whatever. Yeah. And in the beginning, since, our road was a little rocky, and if you don't know our story, you'll have to go back and watch a few episodes back in the beginning. But I wanted to woo you because at that time, my oldest was 4, the twins were very, very young, and all I wanted was to make sure that you stayed. Not like in a desperate way, but like I wanted to make sure that you and I had time to connect, because it was so chaotic at the time. And especially because I was living with my mom at the time. She was so happy that you were back in my life that she would say, I just want you guys to have one night a week. And in the beginning, it started as Thursday nights. I don't really remember why. I think because at that time, my mom and stepdad used to go out on Wednesday nights, and I kind of, I guess, formulated from that as a memory for me. But so it was Thursday nights. She would watch the kids and feed them dinner and put them to bed for us to go out to eat.
How ironic was it that it's a Thursday?
Well, I was just going to say, it's funny because then as we, at that time we were dating, And then after we got married, we weren't doing weekdays with the twins' biological family yet. We were just doing every other weekend. And after we finalized court and everything, and he was awarded 1 day a week, typically, and not everybody, obviously, but the typical, I can't think of it, custody day is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because it's in the middle of the week.
That's what we started with.
But no, we didn't start with it. They wanted to do it because that was the usual day. But that's when I said, I'll do anything to make sure that it's Thursdays. And I know that during that time, you probably didn't notice it. But for me, it was important because it was like we're saying, scheduling those regular things. And for me, it was like, in the beginning, it was Thursdays. In the middle, it was Thursdays. And then now they go on Thursdays, and Thursdays is like the day. It's exciting because you can do something during the week and look forward to going out with your spouse or whatever, and also still have the weekend to do whatever needs to get done.
And sometimes it's not even like a traditional date night. Like it
Yeah.
just might be like, oh, now we can go on an hour and a half walk together without all of the, extra hoopla that comes with it with the kids.
I mean, yeah, I think
us time.
And I think I really toot my horn with marriage, our marriage especially, because it's been work from the beginning, but it's work that I really, really take a lot of pride in. And I think like that's something that our society is losing a little bit is everything's so easy, quick, fast, get this, get that. But I don't see our marriage that way. And I see the work and the effort that we put into it. And those regular date nights, they really matter to me.
Yeah. And not only from just us, but like the family,
our kids
cohesion unit side. I mean, us going out as a family and, doing our regular Jimmy Chongas nights.
That's what I was going to say too. We also have, family nights where we do that quite often. And
we haven't done it as much, but I think.
But you know what I'm saying? Some people will say, "Oh my gosh, how is that in your budget?" But we do budget something like that because it's a way for all of us to have something to look forward to, and we're I mean, in the beginning, it was difficult taking 5 people out to a restaurant, but we didn't give up on that because it was hard.
Yeah.
And now we go and we look forward to it, and everyone looks forward to it, and everybody eats, and it's just to break us out of that mundane, daily, blah, 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 and that's where that passion, that's how you keep anything going, is a little bit of change, a little bit of spontaneity. And even though it's planned, it's still a little break in your routine.
And to keep those moments and that spontaneity and those things going, I think another thing is, having open communication about things, not just for that sake, but for, understanding. And, if there's not any communication, I feel like you're thinking something that you might not be thinking.
I'm never thinking what you think I'm thinking.
That's
like ever.
That's probably true. But I mean, communicating openly is something that I think keeps the passion alive in any relationship, whether it's, husband, wife, friends, whatever.
I totally agree with that. And I know most people, especially if you know me personally, I am 100% through and through a talker. And
I'm not.
And a lot of people may say, that I talk too much. Go look in the comments. People say it all the time. But I will say, like, if you're not maintaining some type of open communication, sometimes when I try and shut myself out so that I can like be less for people, I realize like nothing gets done in a way that is cohesive for everybody. At work, at home, in your friendships. If something's bothering you and you don't tell someone, how does that turn out?
Yeah.
You're definitely not going to show up to that friendship with anything less than resentment. And, for us especially, I think we communicate through what does your week look like, or how can I help you with something that's going on this week that might be big, or where do you have an opening that we can talk about something more important? And it's not always fun.
But what I love about, because you're the way you are and I'm the way that I am, is it's honestly your willingness to, I don't want to say go first in the conversation, but
the instigator.
Kinda.
But in a positive way.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like I can feed off a conversation. I'm not a conversation starter. Like, let's not.
Not at all.
Not at all. But the fact that you are able to, if something's bothering you, say that something's bothering you, and then I know how to kind of go off of that. But
I think that's another thing that is so like vital to any relationship or any, I mean, just if you're not communicating, you're not growing. And I mean, if you're not communicating with your boss, if you're not communicating with your employees, if you're not communicating with people at church, I mean, it's one of those things people are so afraid of conversation because they think it will lead to confrontation. But, ooh, that was a good one. But I think if you're not communicating, you're dying because it is important. But that is what's really great about our dynamic is, again, I can sometimes think what I think you might have going on in there, and it's probably not the same. But if I don't say anything, then we're just both sitting ducks thinking about completely opposite things than what we, the other is, and it just doesn't do anything for us.
So I think to sum up this episode, because we are coming to an end here, communication is key.
Yep.
Setting those boundaries is key.
Yep.
And then
just
having regular time together.
I was just going to say,
key.
Just take them on a date.
Keep the passion alive in whatever relationship that you have.
Yep.
So with that, you guys, we're going to start leaving every episode a new way. And if you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I don't know if you can see it over the camera, but make sure you like, comment, subscribe is the only thing that lets us know that you guys are supporting us and that we're doing something for a reason here.
Share it with your friends too.
Share it with your friends.
Somebody might need to hear it.
You never know who's going to need to hear it. And just remember that every day is a new chance to get it right, and keep pushing forward and stay inspired. Thanks for watching.